Hey guys, Travis here,
And the Freak Joe.
and we are here at another Wisconsin cemetery, doing our freaky cemetery tour across great state of Wisconsin.
That's right. We're here in Green Lake, Wisconsin at the Dartford Cemetery. Had to look, don't know why. Couldn't find a date for when the cemetery was founded, but it's a very old cemetery, probably founded at the same time as the town. Yeah, it's an interesting cemetery. Lots of history here. One of the interesting things, I think, is that it's on both sides of the road. We're only going to focus on the older side behind us as we record.
Yeah, it's noted as one of the most haunted cemeteries in Wisconsin, and there's an old Indian chief, I believe, that's buried here.
Yep, Chief Highknocker or Highknocker, if you want to say it that way. Highknocker, I believe, was his native name. Highknocker was what he was called because he had a big stovepipe hat that he liked to wear. Allegedly, he died by drowning trying to swim across the river.
Yep.
So, but apparently you can see his ghost at night sometimes dressed in full Native American garb. I don't know why he'd wear a stovepipe hat all the time in life and then Native American garb at night.
It'd be interesting.
Or in death, rather.
There's also a urban legend that there's a mausoleum in here that if you climb on top of it, you'll get shoved off of it. We're not going to climb on it, but I will lean alongside of it. It's one of those in-ground mausoleums, it looks like. I'm going to lean on it and see if I get like maybe nudged or something like that. But no, we're not going to climb up on anything. But if you guys have climbed upon it yourself and been shoved off, we'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Comment below and let us know. But Joe, if you're ready, I'm ready. And let's go check out Dartford Cemetery,
I'm
one
ready.
of the most haunted cemeteries in Wisconsin.
Let's do it.
So Dartford Cemetery. Tell me that doesn't look like something.
It does look like something. Like a face or...
So while Joey's checking out one side of the cemetery, I'm going to check out the other. Work our way in the middle to the mausoleum. But see if we get some of these cool old stones. One thing Joey, I know, mentioned in recent vlogs is so far in Wisconsin we noticed that a lot of upkeep is made to these cemeteries compared to ones in Illinois or ones in Indiana. Because we look at stones like 1915 and 1918, how they're pretty well preserved. You got Sherwood family, looks like. Looks like this stone was split in half, but it was kind of put back together, which is kind of cool. I really like the stones like this, where like sometimes you'll see one name on one side, and sometimes there'll be a name on the other. If they This one doesn't have it, but see, like this one. It's like Joey said, we saw a lot of these happening. Cemetery or somebody buried in between two plants.
Got a couple of old graves here. These ones are held up with some supports on the back and on the front, as you can see here. Just fascinating. I mean, I did mention in the intro that this is the older part of the cemetery. Newer part over there across the road, if I can get a good shot of it. Oop, hello, face. So that's the new side that we're not going to focus on. All right, old side. Interesting. Some walkers. Seems like a lot of walkers in the cemetery. I believe the mausoleum in the center is also a guy by the name of Walker. So, interesting. Interesting old cemetery. You know, one of the things that we've noticed in some of the larger cemeteries is that they are tending to face the headstones toward whatever the road, the nearest road is. But what I'm noticing in this one, this older cemetery, probably built here before the roads, is that on this side of the cemetery, everything is pointed one way, and it looks like it stays pointed this way even on the other side. So it's an interesting conundrum. Why are we doing this? What's going on here? There we go. Not sure what the deal is. And here we have the Pinch family, it looks like. Some old graves. This one, the old one, seems to have just collapsed beyond repair, which is interesting. I feel kind of bad for whoever that is. Let's pop over to this corner here real fast and then work our way back over. So what I'm curious about is whether or not these are newer. 1954, 1917, 1969. It's not really that new. Oh, here we go, 2020, 1995, 1935, and 2020. Very interesting. Super felt. I wonder if they're related somehow, but I can't really tell. Alright, let's go around this side. More similar place. There we go. All right. Back on down. Oh, some interesting older places. Again, some older other stuff. I'm going to come over here and check out this one and this one that's laying down. Minnie and Ida. Interesting. Oh, Lord. Once again, kids. And it seems to be in German, so I can't read it, but interesting. If anyone wants to offer a translation in the comments, it'd be much appreciated. So I think this one is interesting as well, this group. So again, with these ones, some of which have been repaired, some of which have been left in disrepair. You know, one of the things I think about a lot as we do these cemetery tours is the idea of the first death and the second death, right? Your first death is the time you actually die, and your second death, they say, is when you are forgotten. And what I can't help but think about as I'm seeing these markers that are in disrepair, that have fallen down, fallen over, begun to be impossible to read, is that there's nobody left to pick them up. Nobody to honor the dead and remember them and keep them alive in their sort of undeath or second death. So you sort of wonder, did the family move away? Did they die out? Was there a plague in town or a disease? Or is it just simply, you know, Green Lake is a pretty small town, only a population of about 1,000 people. Certainly today, I think a lot of people, a lot of young people would not want to live here, necessarily. Certainly, there's probably not, no offense to Green Lake, maybe there's more industry than I think, but having grown up in rural Indiana and with relatives in rural Indiana and rural Illinois, it's hard to say that there's a lot of work nearby. Old places like this. I think sometimes maybe that's changing, but and really with remote work, there's no reason it shouldn't continue to change. But I think the general way of things is that people grow up, they go get an education, and they move away, and that's just kind of how it works a lot of the time. So maybe there's just nobody left in town. These ones here are interesting. I want to briefly highlight them. This one especially, that seems to be sunk into the ground several inches. It's very strange and a little unusual, I think. So we've got another Freemason. This one with this cool thing on top. Can't see it. There we go. Yeah, I am fascinated by some of these ones. Died 1918, 1902. Clearly, granite seems to be much longer lasting than what I believe marble is most of what this is. In my experience, I feel like a white tombstone is probably marble, and a darker one is probably granite. But it's just kind of interesting. See, this person's been remembered. They've even got flowers and a flag. Veteran of the War of 1812. How about that? So maybe there's a veterans society that takes care of that. So I do think this is the first cemetery of the day that, as far as I can tell, does not have that arborist's grave marker. The one that looks like a big tree trunk. I am utterly fascinated by the number of obelisks and stones broken in half. I just think it's really interesting. But overall, I mean, a lot of these are over 100 years old and look like they could have been produced today. Oh, Purple Heart, World War II veteran. So I am kind of amazed by the number of veterans buried up here. Not just here in Green Lake, but throughout Wisconsin. I feel like we've seen a lot. Here's a Civil War veteran. So that is one of the other things that we heard about with the hauntings, is that sometimes you see Civil War soldiers here at night, which I think is pretty cool. But again, I have to say, I'm just very impressed. 61 to 65, another Civil War veteran. I just think it's interesting when they've tried to fix them. Ooh, it's over here. We got this bench. Let's go look at this bench. Oh, the ground's kind of squishy. I wonder if that's why the one sunk. Tiny one. Hello. Interesting. I'm gonna check out that one. There's just Hannah too here in a second. In memory of Thomas T. and Amanda Cutchin and their descendants, I sometimes think that never blows so red. The rose is where some buried Caesar bled. That every hyacinth the garden wears dropped in her lap from some once lovely head. Lovely. Cedar trees around it. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I've never seen a cemetery stone. It kind of looks like a rock before. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's unfortunate. And also, you know what? I can zoom in here. Actually put the cause of death on there too, which actually I've never seen as well. That's pretty interesting, but I mean, 44 years old or 24 years old. So we got Highknocker, the Native American chief. The legend is that he did drown by a lake and he was buried out by a lake, but his son had him moved to this cemetery. I'm guessing the stone might have been the marker where he was previously buried at. And then when he was moved over here, they put this one in. 1820 to 1911. Chief Highknocker. I don't know if you guys ever heard the stories about leaving coins and stuff on tombstones and stuff. I know each one has a different representation of what the other one is. We can kind of run through that in another episode if you guys are curious. So I do believe we talked about it on our podcast. Okay, so I'm going to lean on this now and give it a minute. See if I get shoved off, pushed. Honestly, other than feeling like I shouldn't be leaning on it, not really feeling shoved. Kind of leaning on it with one foot, so easy to be pushed over if I was to be pushed over. So, don't think it's gonna happen. I didn't see Chief Highknocker while I walked through here. I will verify with Joe whatever he saw here at the end. But as it stands right now, I am not being moved. I'm not being pushed, and I think I'll be okay. All right, Joe. So I took one side, you took the other.
Yeah.
Share with me what you saw.
Yeah, so I feel like on my side, I saw a lot of very old graves that were falling apart. And in and among them were also some very old graves that were not falling apart. And what I noticed was the ones that were falling apart were all made of what I believe is marble. Okay. And all the ones that were in great shape seemed to be made of granite. So it was a really interesting thing, because the ones that were made of granite looked like they could have been made, they looked like they could have been done on the other side of the road. Whereas the other ones, obviously, some of them were held together by, like, wood.
Gotcha.
So I did find in one corner of the cemetery there was a grave from 2020.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is strange. So what about you? What did you find on your side?
So I think what it appears on this is like I got the newer side of the cemetery. A lot of mid-19s, 1900 passings and stuff like that. That Sherwood family looks like a pretty big one.
Yeah.
The most interesting one was the Chiefs cemetery.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Right next to it, there was a boulder that looked like it might have been like the marker for when he was buried by the lake.
Oh.
At least that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I know you went over to look at it. Did you happen to see the smaller rock next to it?
I did. Another drowning victim.
Yeah. See, I think that for me was probably the first time I've ever seen a cause of death on a stone.
I think you're right. I think same.
I've never really seen those before, which I think it's got to be a rare thing. But yeah, when I saw that, because I just saw from the other end the actual rock itself, so I didn't know what it was until I got to your side. Right. And then the smaller rock obviously was a placard attached to the rock to where the chief's boulder itself was actually etched into there. Yeah. But yeah, and then obviously I went to the mausoleum, leaned on it, unsuccessful. Wasn't pushed or shoved or anything, so I'm not going to climb on top of it, but maybe that's what you need to do in order to have that force off. But right. It's an interesting cemetery. I liked it. I like how they have the gate that you're still welcome in there, but it is closed off and stuff. So
yeah, it's clear you're not supposed to drive in. Yeah,
100%. But awesome cemetery, guys. If you're ever in Dartford and want to check out a cemetery, this is a great cemetery to look at. Obviously, because to check the mausoleum, lean on it, don't climb on it, and also to see the chief's stone was actually pretty cool too. Yeah. But if you have been to Dartford before, comment below. Let us know your experiences and everything. We'd love to hear from you guys. We get a lot of comments on these videos, and it's really cool to hear other people's experiences. And we do our absolute best to respond to everybody. I think we're like 100% too responsive. I think maybe 99.9. I think there was one that was, I think I had it deleted just because it was not appropriate. Yeah. So be appropriate, be respectful, obviously to the cemeteries and all that, but share your stories. We'd love to hear it. And make sure you come back, check out all the other vlogs from this Wisconsin tour, as well as the Indiana and Illinois one we did previous, which I can link the playlist to those in this video here at the end. But make sure you do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure that you stay tuned for the next one that we do.
That's right.
So, guys, as always, I am Travesty.
And I'm the Freak Joe.
And thank you for tuning in to another freaky cemetery tour of Wisconsin.